Welcome back. Journey to Milan follows a Minnesota athlete who's already one of the most recognizable names in women's hockey. Taylor Heise grew up in Lake City, was a star player at the U of M, and wasn't just drafted by the Professional Women's Hockey League. She was the first ever #1 overall pick. That already makes Heise a historic figure in hockey, but now she's vying to make her first Olympic appearance with Team USA. Here's Julia Daniels.
Looking forward to hopefully making your first Olympic team. Where are your thoughts right now?
Trying to enjoy the process. I feel like the last time that I was able to do this, and obviously didn't go the way that I wanted it to, I kind of felt like I sped through the process of what it takes to get there, just wanting to be in that spot. Anything I can be a part of physically and mentally, I want to be there. And I want to be, focused on the little things, and because all that ends up mattering.
How do you balance ambition and patience?
I feel like being cut from the last Olympics has had me to figure out what it takes to be patient. I've been someone that, attacks what they want, and I've always done that. I always said I never want to be content in where I'm at. I don't want to be patient and content. I want to be patient and ambitious. That's actually a good word to describe it. Ambitious in the goals that I want to have, but have patience in the time it's going to take to do them.
How do you feel like you've grown as a player in the past 4 years?
I feel like I'm a completely different player. I have all the same, skills and mindsets that I had in the past, but I definitely have added more to my game and have kind of broadened my horizon on what is needed of me. Just to being able to, not only lead teams in between that 4 years, whether that be college or pro, but just seeing what it takes to not only motivate your teammates, but motivate yourself. Sometimes you just gotta see what it takes, and me being able to learn from not only the girls in this locker room, but everyone around me, and to learn that it's okay to fail, it's okay to not be the best, because the next time you go out, you wanna make sure that you're at your best.
How do you feel like your training with the PWHL is helping get you ready for this stage?
One thing I think back in 2022 that I lacked a little bit was physicality, was, bringing myself to the fight, wanting to kind of stay away and be more perimeter focused and not get hit. But I think now, just understanding how I'm built and the way that I've worked to get my body to be the way that it is, it's important for me to go bring myself to the fight.
How do you feel like you fit into this roster specifically?
Being a center, I obviously have been focusing more on my face-offs and kind of what my defensive posture looks like. And this team, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of film on that. I think sometimes I like to just sit and learn from people. I'm more visual, so getting to see that film is huge for me. And anything I'm able to take from it is big as well.
You're training in Minnesota, you play for the Frost, you're from here. What would it mean to not only represent the United States, but also represent the state of hockey, your home state?
Yeah, Minnesota means a lot to me. Being able to have my fans from Lake City, from Red Wing, from the Gophers, from PWHL Minnesota to the Frost to USA. I have a good group of people behind me, and not only them, but my family and friends. Being able to put Minnesota on my back, and those other Minnesota greats in the locker room here and in Team USA as well, is something that we take great pride in. It's the state of hockey for a reason. Toronto can say that they are. They're not.
As we are in this new era for women's hockey with the P-Dub, how do you think that league is going to lend a hand to the competitiveness that you'll see in Milan in 2026?
I would say the fact that it's competitive, that you're able to play with your, I would say, enemies at that point. You're on the same team as people who you want to beat so bad. The animosity between teams, the animosity between people. You gain rivalries not only in the PWHL, but you gain rivalries in national competitions and things. So I just think there's going to be a lot of animosity and a lot of fight and grit that's going to be shown, whether that be in the Olympics or even in the future.
Favorite part? Toronto thinks it's the state of hockey. It's not. Awesome. Love Heise's energy. Good interview, Julia. Thank you. Let's switch to Toys for Tots. We just have a few days left of our Toys for Tots drive. It's here at KARE 11, and every little bit helps. It's something a small antique and vintage store in Hastings is embracing this holiday season. The business decided to try its first ever Toys for Tots drive this year, and it turns out that a little idea had a pretty big impact. Kent Erdahl has that.
Hastings' Little Shop of Treasures has cultivated a big community presence.
It was founded by 3 really close friends, and it has grown into a network of individual dealers that are all local to the area.
Jennifer Rush says some sell antiques or vintage clothing, but in her section,
we tend to feature a lot of pop culture and retro toys.
Recently, she's also been making a little space for new toys, not to sell, but to donate.
On our community pages on Facebook, we see a lot of people talking about where they can go to get assistance this year. A lot of first-time people looking for assistance, and that means Toys for Tots is even more important this year.
Their little toy drive started small.
Our goal was simply to fill the box.
They checked that box on day one.
We had somebody come into the shop with a box of toys, and we were so excited. We got one whole box, but it didn't stop.
By the end, they had nearly a dozen boxes stacked to the ceiling, each packed to the brim with pop culture collectibles.
It was all Funko Pops. It was hard to get a count, but it was somewhere around 200 of them.
So many that it required more than one trip to the Toys for Tots warehouse.
If you ever wanted to know how many Funko Pops fit in a Prius, the answer is 179.
Though these little vinyl figures may seem like a funky donation,
This Captain America.
the Marines say they're popular with a critical age group, kids 11 to 15.
Who might have more appreciation for what a Funko Pop might be.
And if you're wondering what person might be to thank for the donation,
We are thinking it was either a local business who was moving through older inventory, or it was an individual collector that just was ready to part with their collection. Even though we don't know who they are, their donation is going to be somebody's story.
and thanks to another 60 community donations and counting, that story is still being written. And Jennifer is grateful to be playing a little part.
It's just so rewarding. You know, as one individual, I can't really do a whole lot, but what I can do is get involved with a bigger group and rally a community and get the word out.
Very cool. Kent Erdahl reporting there. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.